He sat alone in the dark. No lights, no sound, just the hum of his own thoughts, loud, heavy, unrelenting. He used to be the one people called the strong one, the one who smiled no matter what. But that night, even his strength broke, because that's what life does. It hits you when you least expect it. Sometimes it's a job lost. Sometimes it's a friend who betrays you. Sometimes it's life itself whispering in your ear, "You're done." And he almost believed it. Almost. But then something deep inside whispered back, "Not yet." Have you ever been hit so hard by life that you forgot who you were? Like the air was knocked out of your lungs, and even breathing felt like a battle? That's where he was. Everything he built, gone. His dreams, his plans, his confidence, all shattered like glass. But here's the twist. The people who fall the hardest often rise the highest. Because pain has a strange way of building warriors. He didn't see it at first. He just saw the wreckage. He saw doors closing, people walking away, opportunities slipping through his fingers. But what he didn't realize was that life wasn't ending. It was testing him. Testing if he was willing to fight for the life he said he wanted. Because anyone can dream when things are easy. But not everyone can fight when the world hits back. It's easy to feel strong when everything's going your way. But true strength doesn't show up until the lights go out, until the world forgets your name, until no one claps for you anymore, and you still show up anyway. That's when you find out who you really are. He stopped blaming the world. He stopped waiting for someone to save him. He realized no one's coming. If he wanted to rise, he'd have to rise alone. So he started small. One day, one step, one choice at a time. He got up when it still hurt. He worked when no one was watching. He believed when everyone doubted. Because hitting back harder doesn't always mean shouting or fighting. Sometimes it just means refusing to quit. And every time he showed up, life started to shift. Every small win became a spark. Every spark became a fire. That's how warriors are made. Not by comfort, but by pain. Not by luck, but by persistence. One night, standing in that same dark room, he looked around and realized something had changed. It wasn't the room. It was him. The pain didn't destroy him. It rebuilt him. It burned away his fear. It showed him that no matter how hard life hit, he could hit back harder. Because storms don't last forever. But people who learn to fight through them, they become unbreakable. And as he looked in the mirror, for the first time in a long time, he didn't see failure. He saw fire. The kind that doesn't die. The kind that rises from ashes. But he didn't know what was coming next. He didn't know life was about to test him again, harder than ever before. The question is, would he still fight when the next storm came? He thought he'd made it through the worst. He thought he'd already seen rock bottom. But life had one more lesson to teach. It came quietly at first. A phone call, a message he didn't want to read. And then, just like that, everything he'd been rebuilding started to crumble again. He froze. Not because he was weak this time, but because he thought he'd already earned peace. He whispered to himself, "Why again? Why me?" But the universe doesn't answer with words. It answers with pressure. It asks one question over and over. How bad do you really want this? It's easy to fight the first battle. Your adrenaline's high, your heart's on fire, and your mind says, "Let's go." But what about the second battle? The one that comes when you're tired, bruised, and no one's watching? When you've already given everything once, and life demands more. That's where he found himself again. Dreams slipping, money running out, people disappearing. Everything he worked for vanishing. He wanted to scream. He wanted to walk away. Because who wants to start over twice? But then he remembered something. The first time he fought to survive. This time he would fight to win. That's when he realized something powerful. Life doesn't hit you to destroy you. It hits you to shape you. Diamonds don't form in peace. They form under pressure. And the same is true for greatness. He stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" And when that question changed, everything changed. He learned that every challenge was a teacher in disguise. Rejection was building his resilience. Loss was sharpening his focus. Silence was teaching him patience. He didn't need things to get easier. He needed to get stronger. So he did. He started waking up earlier. He started training harder. He started saying no to things that drained his energy. And for the first time, his fight wasn't about proving people wrong. It was about proving himself right. Because when life hits you again, you can either fall apart or rise better. One morning, standing in front of sunrise, he whispered, "You can't break me anymore." It wasn't arrogance. It was truth. He wasn't the same person who fell before. The hits that once shattered him now only sharpened him. He finally understood. You can't control what life throws at you, but you can control how you swing back. And every time he stood up, every time he refused to quit, he was telling life, "You can test me, but you can't take me." But little did he know, the biggest test was still waiting in the shadows. A storm he couldn't see coming. A moment that would challenge everything he believed. And when it came, even his strength would be pushed to its breaking point. It happened on an ordinary day. The sun was out. The world looked calm. He felt unstoppable. He thought he'd finally outrun the pain. But storms don't always roar when they arrive. Sometimes they whisper. He got the call. And in a single sentence, his world shattered. It wasn't about money this time. It wasn't about failure or success or ambition. It was about loss. The kind of loss that doesn't just hurt. It changes you. The kind that no amount of strength can prepare you for. He fell to his knees, phone trembling in his hands. And for the first time in a long time, he didn't want to fight. Because this wasn't a battle of body. It was a battle of the soul. When pain hits that deep, it doesn't scream. It whispers. It sits quietly beside you, asking the same question again and again. What's the point of fighting anymore? He stopped answering calls. He stopped eating. He stopped talking. The same man who once said, "You can't break me," now sat in darkness again. Only this time, the darkness felt endless. People told him, "Stay strong." But they didn't understand. Sometimes, strength doesn't mean standing tall. Sometimes, strength means not giving up while you're on the floor. And that's where he found something different. Not the fire that once roared, but a small, flickering light deep inside. The kind of light that says, "You're not done yet." Pain is strange. It can destroy you or it can define you. It depends on what you decide to do with it. He started walking again. Not fast, not far, just walking. He let the wind hit his face. He let the tears fall when they needed to. He stopped pretending to be invincible. Because healing doesn't start when you act strong. It starts when you admit you're hurting. And as he healed, something powerful happened. He realized that every hit life gave him, every heartbreak, every setback, every tear, was building something inside him that no success ever could. Unbreakable will. He wasn't fighting to prove he could win anymore. He was fighting because he refused to let pain write his story. He began to see pain not as punishment, but as preparation. Because when you learn to fight from a place of love, not anger, from a place of peace, not pride, you become unstoppable. One morning, he looked in the mirror again. Same face, different eyes. He didn't see the boy who was broken. He saw the man who had been rebuilt. Stronger, wiser, calmer. He finally understood what hitting back harder really meant. It wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about shouting louder or fighting longer. It was about refusing to let the world harden your heart. That's the real strength. To stay kind in chaos. To stay soft in storms. To stay grounded when everything around you shakes. But just when he started to find peace, something unexpected happened. He received an opportunity. The kind that could change everything. It was his chance to finally rise. To prove to the world and to himself that everything he endured had a purpose. But accepting it meant walking straight into fire again. Would he risk it all one last time? He stood at the edge of everything he'd been fighting for. A door was open in front of him. The kind of opportunity people pray for. The kind that could rewrite his story forever. But behind that door was uncertainty. Pressure. Risk. Pain again. He hesitated. Not because he was afraid to fail, but because he remembered what it cost last time. He'd been burned, broken, tested to the edge of his sanity. And now life was asking him one last time, will you still fight when you know what it costs? He took a breath, closed his eyes, and stepped forward. From the outside, it looked like courage, but inside, it was chaos. Every doubt screamed in his head. Every past failure replayed in his mind. But he kept walking, because he finally understood something that most people never do. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite it. Every step he took reminded him of where he came from, the nights he cried in silence, the mornings he showed up when no one believed in him, the pain he turned into purpose. That pain became his armor. That pain became his power. And as he stepped onto that stage, the world that once ignored him now watched in silence. He didn't speak like someone desperate to prove something. He spoke like someone who had already won. Because real victory doesn't come when life gets easy. It comes when you refuse to break, even when it doesn't. When life hits you hard, it's not trying to end you, it's trying to wake you up. Every setback is a message. There's more in you than you think. But you'll never find that strength if you keep running from pain. You only find it when you face it head on. You learn that the hard way. And maybe that's how it's meant to be. Because easy roads never build strong travelers. Comfort never creates growth. And peace doesn't come from avoiding storms. It comes from learning how to dance in the rain. He looked back at every failure and realized they were never meant to destroy him. They were meant to prepare him for this moment, this version of himself, this victory. And he realized life will hit again. It always will. But every time it does, he'll hit back harder because he's built for it now. The lights faded. The crowd roared. But none of it mattered as much as the quiet peace inside his chest. He didn't need applause anymore. He didn't need validation. He just needed to know one thing, that he didn't quit. Because when you refuse to give up, you don't just survive the storm. You become it. You become the force that nothing can stop. You become the answer to your own prayers. You become proof that no matter how hard life is, you can always hit back harder. He walked off that stage, not as a man who conquered the world, but as a man who conquered himself. And that's the victory no one can take away. Now it's your turn. Life will hit you. It will test you. It will break your plans, your pride, your patience. But when it does, remember this. You've been through worse. You survived every single bad day so far. Don't run. Don't hide. Don't surrender. When life hits hard, hit back harder. Not with anger, not with hate, but with discipline, with faith, with fire in your heart. Because every time you rise, you teach the world what strength really looks like. So stand up, wipe your tears, straighten your shoulders. This is your fight, and you're not done yet. Your comeback starts now. Because when life hits hard, you hit back harder.